Hello everyone and welcome back. By now you should know my name. I'm Sarah Javadi and today we're looking at Module 2, Task 2, but we will focus on grammar and sentence structure for essay writing. Now, have you downloaded your handouts? Ready? Okay, let's get started. In order to write an essay, one of the components that's really important is your grammar. With grammar, there are two features. One of them is your accuracy. So everything you write down has to be correct. You should avoid making mistakes as much as possible. Even small mistakes, like a plural S, it's still a mistake. Seems minor, but it will drop your score. So make sure you keep an eye on your sentence structure. Make sure you double check your work to avoid any small mistakes like that. But besides accuracy, there is also the component of variety. So it's not enough to write simple sentences which are all correct, obviously. You need to show your ability of using different range of structures, different grammatical structures correctly. One of those things that you need to be good at is different types of sentences. For the purpose of essay writing, we look at 4 types of sentences. We have got simple, compound, complex, and compound sentences. Starting with the simple sentence. Well, as the name indicates, it's a very simple sentence made of subject, verb, object. That's what makes a sentence in English. But in order to use this in our essays and make it sound academic, we're going to do some alteration and changes into this sentence. You know that the subject of every sentence in English can be different things, like a name, as in Sarah, or my sister, my teacher, my brother. But these are all personal, not good enough for an essay. Therefore, we create our own subject by making a noun. How do we do that? We pick a verb related to our essay topic. For instance, if you're talking about communication and the benefits of knowing other languages, being able to speak other languages, the verb that we need is know another language, speak another language. All you have to do is add ing to that verb and it becomes a noun, what we call nominalization. Every noun can be used as the subject of the sentence. So you've got yourself a subject. Knowing. And the beauty of creating your own subjects is that you can add any information relevant to your essay to them. So you can say knowing a second language, knowing another language. So I've got my subject here. Now what do I need? I need a verb. You can use any verb that fits the meaning of the sentence you have in mind, but again, to help you, there are some certain verbs that you can learn and use easily in your essays. If you're talking about something positive, like an advantage, a benefit of something, you can use verbs like helps, allows, or encourages. So you use them in place of your verb. Knowing a second language allows. Next, you need an object. Your object can be anything as long as it's not a personal object. So don't say allows me, allows my friend. Say allows individuals, allows people, allows students, travelers, tourists. So I'm going to use individuals here. Now, let's look at the sentence. Knowing a second language allows individuals. You can tell that the sentence is not complete yet. We need to add one more item to complete this sentence, and that is our infinitive. Infinitive is to plus verb. Knowing a second language allows individuals to communicate any other information that you would like to add to the sentence. You can add them now. To communicate with others easily. There you go. You've got yourself a simple sentence. So let's go over it one more time. It's based on subject, verb, object in structure. All we're doing differently is adding an infinitive to it to complete the sentence. We're also making the subject ourselves by nominalization. Moving on to the compound sentences. As you can see, each line indicates a sentence or a clause. So sentence number 1 and sentence number 2. That's the difference between compound and simple. Simple had just one part. Here we've got two parts. Now, by choice, we decide to add a second sentence to our already complete sentence. So it's really important to remember that your first sentence is independent and complete on its own. It's your decision to add some more information to it in another sentence. In order to link these two sentences to each other, you need linking words or conjunctions, as you might know them. Choose your conjunctions according to your meaning. For instance, if the information you are adding in the second sentence is of the same nature, like both of them are advantages of something, you can use the word and. So it helps people communicate and mention another benefit of learning a second language. However, if the second information that you're adding is of a contrasting nature, different, opposite, you would use but between the two sentences. If the second information is the conclusion of the first sentence, the result of the first sentence, you can use so. So you write the first sentence, you add another sentence to it. So you can say, improving road infrastructure facilitates people's travels, but it adds to the traffic volume. So one good thing was the ability to move for people, commute, and here, traffic. More traffic, contrasting nature. So convenience, a negative thing. Use but between the two sentences here. That's your compound sentence. Moving on to the complex sentences. You can see a similarity between complex and compound, and that is also two-part sentence, right? So sentence 1 or clause 1 and sentence 2. However, there are some differences between complex sentences and compound sentences. In a complex sentence, we don't have an option. We have to add the second clause. Why is that? Because we have started the first sentence with a certain structure that makes it dependent. So this sentence is not complete on its own. It requires a second sentence to be added in order to complete it. A very good example of this, consider a sentence with if. If you study hard, now you can imagine that my sentence is not finished, waiting for a second part. If you study, you know the answer to this one, you will pass the test. Now the sentence is complete. So it all happened because I started with if. I couldn't leave the sentence in the middle. I had to bring in a second part to complete the meaning of the first part. And that's a complex sentence. In order to make complex sentences, there are certain words that you can use. Again, choose them according to the meaning. So if you're talking about a condition, you can use if unless, otherwise. If you're talking about the reason for something, since, as, because. If you're pointing out a contrast, although, even though, while. Remember, we used them in our thesis statement. We were talking about advantages and disadvantages. So we said, although there are advantages, comma, there are also some drawbacks. So you are familiar with this sentence. And that's our complex sentence. Fourth type of sentence. Well, if you have learned your compound sentence and your complex sentence well, this shouldn't be that difficult. It's a combination of the two previous sentences. So, complex first, compound following. Let's look. We have got our complex sentence here, which was one of these words in here. Sentence 1, sentence 2 in order to complete the first sentence. Instead of stopping here, you choose to continue. Remember, optional. You would like to add another piece of information to this sentence. But what do you need in order to do that? A linking word, a conjunction. So one of these words that we already talked about. Let's do a sample sentence. If people speak another language, so that's my first sentence. What do I need now? Watch out for your punctuation. You need a comma here. They will be able to communicate in other countries. So my complex sentence is complete now. I would like to continue, so I can use the word and. Something we really recommend is ATM, which stands for and, the linking word. This may. Now all you need is the third piece of information. This may help them enjoy their holiday in other countries. So you can see that it's quite a long sentence. And now we're looking at where we're going to use these sentences. So you will see the link if you have watched the previous video, which was about essay structure. Do you remember what the components of a body paragraph were? I hope you do. We had T, I, E, I, E. Topic sentence, idea, example, a second idea, example or explanation for the second idea. With our topic sentences, we know from one of our handouts that there are certain sentences that we learn, like there are obvious problems associated with something. Moving on to our idea. The most important one is, now you need a sentence. It's really important that you have a complete sentence. Which one do you think fits the idea? You're right, the simple sentence. So use this in your idea. You might think, well, I have got 4 ideas in an essay, 2 in each body paragraph. Is it all right if I have this structure 4 times? Yes, of course, it's a very strong structure, provided that you remember to change your subject every time. So don't repeat the same subject 4 times. Don't say knowing another language, knowing another language, knowing another language. You can see that it's quite repetitive. So think about ways to replace it, like being able to speak another language, communicating in a second language. You have got synonyms that you can use. Now we're left with compound, complex, complex and compound, and the E in our body paragraphs. Well, all these three sentences can be used in the E. Now I will show you how. Let's go back and look at our body paragraph structure. So we had the T, I, E, I, E. Well, the T comes from your handouts. The I is a simple sentence. Can be simple both times. Now you have got two E's and three different structures. Play with them. Use a compound here and then go for a complex sentence in the next part. Remember, what you needed was quite long sentences in this section. And complex sentences and complex and compound sentences will enable you to come up with those sentences. Do the exact same thing in the next body paragraph. So, next time you can try, well, you have already tried your compound and complex. What you haven't included yet is a complex and compound. Give it a try in the next paragraph. This way, what will happen is an essay that's full of various grammatical structure, very strong structures that will add to your grammar score. I hope you get a chance to sit down and write down a few sample sentences. We have got some handouts available for you. I'm hoping that you have downloaded them and try to continue those sentences. Later on, you can write your own sentences, use your own ideas to start from the beginning and finish them. Remember, consistency and persistency are the key. So do all your homework. Your teachers are waiting for you. Bye for now.